when the white man made another class of people by giving an educated class to say you're going to live most to me, near me, you're going to function, and your social side is going to be different. They took you out of society on where you used to be in the zone with all kind of creative shit. So as a result, the creativity start breaking down because you're trying to imitate somebody else.
You have to read the history of slavery to understand this. There were two kinds of Negroes. There was that old house Negro and the field Negro. And the house Negro always looked out for his master. When the field Negroes got too much out of line, he held them back in check. He put them back on the plantation. The house Negro could afford to do that because he lived better than the field Negro. He ate better, he dressed better, and he lived in a better house. He lived right up next to his master in the attic or the basement. He ate the same food his master ate and wore his same clothes. And he could talk just like his master. Good diction. And he loved his master more than his master loved himself. That's why he didn't want his master hurt. If the master got sick, he'd say, "What's the matter, boss? We sick?" When the master's house caught a fire, he'd try and put the fire out. He didn't want his master's house burned. He never wanted his master's property threatened.
They work for them, they patch them, they protect them, they act like they don't exist, but they serve them. Mm-hmm. And they never utter against them, even never whisper to us. Mm-hmm. If you saw on that Boule tape when we were there messing at the convention, I told my buddies, we're not here to recruit them. We don't want them to be better brothers. We want to warn them that if they're the guard dog on white supremacy, when we jump the fence, what you gonna do? You're gonna bite, you're gonna fight, or you're gonna run out and let us get to who we after. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But how do we get to who we after when we got all this wing and wang out here? All this distraction, all this misfocusing, and then is there complicity in our community? When some people killed Martin King, when some people killed Malcolm X, did that neutralize our present leadership, who are byproducts of assassination? Did this put us in a bind? Do we have a lot of old paper out there that white folks work when they want to that keep us in a bind that we don't seem to talk back?
Wake up, nigga.
What's going on? Welcome back to Elamine Unscripted, Conversation and Controversy, Burning Down the Master's House. I'm your host, Elamine. Please be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, and donate. Click the links in the description box below, as well as the pinned comment. Also, hit your notification bell so you'll be notified when I upload future content. Now today, as the thumbnail says, oppressed by well-trained Negroes, how black people oppress and control each other for money, status, and white supremacy. Let's go. I'm going to start this off with a couple of passages from my favorite author, my guy, Carter G. Woodson, in The Miseducation of the Negro. Let's go. Let's get into it. Real education means to inspire people to live more abundantly, to learn to begin with life as they find it and make it better. But the instruction so far given Negroes in colleges and universities has worked to the contrary. This is from in this particular version that I have. This is on page 32, but this is chapter 4, Education Under Outside Control. So this is from chapter 4 of Carter G. Woodson's The Miseducation of the Negro. Let me continue. On the contrary, however, the usual way now is for the whites to work out their plans behind closed doors, have them approved by a few Negroes serving nominally on a board, and then employ a white or mixed staff to carry out their program. This is not interracial cooperation. It is merely the ancient idea of calling upon the inferior to carry out the orders of the superior. I'm going to skip on down. Behind closed doors, these friends, quote unquote, say you need to be careful in advancing Negroes to commanding positions unless it can be determined beforehand that they will do what they are told to do. You can never tell when some Negroes will break out and embarrass their quote unquote friends. Shout out to Carter G. Woodson. Shout out to Brother Malcolm X. Ashe, Brother Malcolm X. Ashe, Carter G. Ashe, forgive me. Ashe, Carter G. Woodson. Ashe, Steve Copley. Ashe, Khalid Muhammad. Ashe, Neely Fuller Jr. Ashe, Francis Cress Welsing, and many, many others. Ashe, Brother Bobby Hammond. I don't know if Brother Bobby Hammond is still with us or not, but Ashe to Brother Paul Mooney as well for their contributions and things that they said and mentioned within this particular video that, you know, I've edited and whatnot, whatever. Okay. Ashe, Brother Amos Wilson as well. Okay. Now, this is not coming from a place of bitterness. This is not coming from a place of even, it's a little bit of judgment going on, because there's a whole lot of fuckery going on, and that has occurred over the years, the decades, and what have you. So I want to start this off by mentioning just, this is not coming from a one-dimensional place. I've had a great deal of experience in this life thus far. I've been around a lot of different people. I've been with some of the highest of them, and I've been with some of the lowest of them. And from what I've come to, so many things are truly connected in how I've come to see the world. So, as somebody who's been pursuing a number of different paths and who has developed and internalized a lot of different trains of thought about this life, about this existence, especially when it comes to being a so-called Negro, being black or what have you, I've learned a lot. I've peeped a lot of game. I've peeped a lot of bullshit that some people like to sweep under the rug when it comes to dealing with our people. This is not to embarrass anyone. This isn't to humiliate anyone, but I have a very, very clear awareness of a lot of the things, a lot of the variables that are in place that hold so-called Negroes back. And it's not necessarily white people, it's other Negroes. These are the well-trained house Negroes who are basically in the way. Now the boule, the boule fits under an umbrella to me, because under that umbrella of the boule, you have the Divine Nine. You know, you got your sororities and fraternities, which are these are basically hierarchical groups in which a lot of people tend to move up, or they want to move up, or they attempt to move up. And you have a great deal of them that denounce the groups that they were a part of. And if you get a chance to really go through any of this stuff on YouTube, look up some of these people who denounce their affiliations with their groups and listen to why they do it. A lot of this stuff is really already in front of you, so I'm not necessarily saying anything that's Masonic secrets or frat, soror secrets or anything like that. But you need to understand a lot of the buffer zones that have been put in place, a lot of the barriers, a lot of the obstacles, a lot of the variables that have been put in place to keep, I guess, your everyday common Negro exactly where they are. I know this because it's a lot of barriers that I've went past as an average person. And there are a lot of barriers that have stopped me due to my rough edges, if you will. And I'm cool with my rough edges. I'm cool with who I am as a person. I'm grateful for who I am as a person. But it's a lot of people that don't feel that way about Negroes like me. They don't like the rebels. They don't like the ones who don't adhere to certain standards and policies and hierarchical rules and all of this. And you really have to understand that so much of it is connected through the colleges, through the universities, and through the church as well. If you really go through a lot of my catalog, you can, and build up to this particular video, you can kind of see where I'm going with this stuff. But this is just things that are on my heart, and it just kind of is what it is. All of this has happened so organically. But as I've went up the ladder and peeked behind the veil of your various churches and institutions, your pastors, a lot of these guys I've gotten to know personally, and I just see where it's all connected. You know, a lot of these pastors are also frat boys, and what have you. And so it's all to control Negroes. It's all to control financially oppressed and psychologically control Black people. So and I'm freestyling this. I don't have a script in front of me. I'm not going off any notes. But it may be a part two to this particular video. But my thing was to begin highlighting how a lot of this works, how a lot of this comes into play, and kind of, I guess you want to say, map it out for you guys, if that's okay. Let's see here where I kind of want to go with this. I'm sorry I'm not as prepared as some of you would like me to be, or as some other YouTubers are. Like I said, I'm just allowing it to happen organically. And I didn't take a whole lot of notes to get this particular part started. So that's where it may be a part two. And this may just act as an introductory video to kind of get things going, get the juices flowing, to provoke thought, to get subscribers and new subscribers or people that witness this video to begin sharing things even in the comment section, because we're going to get the conversation started about this. And it ain't like it's a new conversation. Steve Coakley talked about this. Carter G. Woodson definitely talked about this. Brother Amos Wilson talked about this. Dr. Amos Wilson, I'm sorry. And a host of other people. Malcolm X talked about this. And so we have to really understand who and what the boule is. And I want to utilize boule, according to Steve Coakley and some of the things I've read as well, are basically advisors for the king. And if you think about, a king has a kingdom. He has a castle. And so I want to utilize this particular, I think I'm put it over here. I want to utilize this particular example of a castle with a moat around it. And this moat, to me, it really symbolizes what the boule is. You have this moat around the king and the castle, which you would call white supremacy, white people, Caucasians, whatever you want to call it. But the people that are in power, they, quote unquote, whatever. And so around this particular moat, you have, anciently used to have alligators and snakes and just a whole bunch of things that if you fell into this moat, you were gonna get fucked off majorly. And so a lot of the groups, the sororities, the Masonic organizations, the fraternities, a lot of these groups, a lot of these different groups are in this moat. And you have to, if you fall into this moat, I mean, hey, you'll get eaten alive. But for them to lower the drawbridge for you to come into the kingdom and to witness the king, or to be a part of the king, the king's kingdom, or what have you, yeah, you're gonna give a password, a secret word, or what have you. And I'll put a video sort of depicting this of Bill Cosby in whatever movie this was. I can't even remember the name of the movie.
State your mother's maiden name, please.
Well, if the chromosome in the genetic code is correct, why do I need my mother's maiden name?
That is not your mother's maiden name.
Boulay.
Identity confirmed.
Thank you.
But this gives sort of the, it gives you an example of sort of how it plays into it. So my goal with this particular video is to really give you the mental framework that's needed to understand what may be in part 2, that I'm gonna chop it up a little bit more. I'm gonna bring a lot more to the forefront, because like I said, this is basically gonna act as an introductory video into where we're going with this. And we're gonna expose a lot of things, and your eyes are gonna be open as well as mine. Now, I've been around a lot of these groups. I've never been affiliated with any of them. Women that I've dated were part of these groups. Men who I've known that are good men, good people, like me, still like me now today. I can still go around these people. But as I've learned, as I've grown, you are what you are and you are where you are. You don't need to go up any sort of ladder to get anywhere. You don't need to kiss anybody's ass unnecessarily to get anywhere. So, I think that's all I'm gonna do. I think that's all I'm gonna do with this particular video, just so you guys get a taste, and hopefully come back when I upload part 2 of this particular subject matter. And I really think it's gonna be interesting. I really think you guys are gonna like it. Come on back. Elamine Unscripted, burning down the master's house. Elamine out. Peace.